Part 82. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 823. Chapter 804. 13 years later. Shangyang City, Jingzhou. After being taken over by Chongshan Academy, the entire city no longer looked as lifeless as before. All the shacks outside the city were swept away, and the once desolate land was reclaimed into fertile farmland. All the low-rise houses in the city were demolished and rebuilt into 5-story buildings. The vacant land was turned into green belts and squares, as well as the lower, middle, and upper courtyards of Chongshan Academy. The once narrow road was widened and reinforced by earth magic. The ancient buildings on both sides were preserved, and all the damaged ones were repaired. Thousands of people no longer have the looks on their faces, let alone the panic of being frightened all day long. The clothes on his body have also changed. Although they are a little old and slightly damaged, they are thousands of times better than the previous beggar's clothes and grass skirts. Any former Qi people who came here would probably not dare to recognize that this was the dilapidated and dead Shangyang city. Sitting on the roof of the highest tower, Tai Zhenjun took a sip of wine and looked at the bustling and vibrant flow of people below. If we let these people return to Qi state now, we won't even want to kill them. It's easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it's hard to go from luxury to frugality. Human nature is like this, Su Junming said. With a casual throw, the Swanyan gourd flew into the hands of true Lord Tai. The latter put it away. Do you really want to keep that stupid cow and old ghost? A stable situation is more conducive to our development. If there is chaos, it will not have much impact on us, but it will easily attract outside prying eyes. There was a pause. I prefer taking small steps to reach the sky in one step. Okay, you have the final say anyway. However, Jingzhou has been completely taken into our hands, and everything is on the right track. Is it time to take over the entire Qi state? No, let's stabilize it for 3 to 5 years first. But the spring and autumn view can be removed. Haha, these guys thought our target was Jingshan, they are so stupid. They are not stupid, but their thinking is limited by their inherent cognition. Stand up. The spring and autumn view is left to you. Why is it me again? Who gives you the most leisure time? Aren't you free too? I want to refine the treasure. Of course, if you take back the Tai golden ship now, I will go to the spring and autumn temple. Tai Zhenjun stood up angrily. He really has no talent at all in refining weapons. Fifth Master really owes you. The light flew up and disappeared in mid-air in an instant. Next time I come back, I want to see a middle-grade Tai immortal treasure. The words are still in my ears, but the person has disappeared. Su Junming smiled faintly, took a step forward, and reappeared in the backyard of Chongshan residence. Sitting cross-legged in the pavilion in the backyard, with a wave of his hand, the treasure suddenly appeared. 4-elephant sword formation, heavenly secret divine ball, Sankei divine gate, Tianli drum, Jishi immortal hoe, Pantuo divine spear, green bamboo staff, storage gourd, Qingyun Taoist robe, Tianyi divine mountain, and Chongshan residence. In addition to the creation spirit pond and the Tiangong divine furnace, Su Junming's commonly used magic weapons are basically here. The 4-elephant sword formation, Jishi immortal hoe, green bamboo staff, storage gourd, and Qingyun Taoist robe are just the best immortal weapons. Sankei Shenmen and Tianji Shenkaiu are low-grade innate spiritual treasures. The heavenly thunder drum, Pantuo divine spear and Chongshan residence are middle-grade immortal treasures. It is also the most powerful magic weapon that he has trained in his hands. Tianyi Shenshan is the pinnacle of the small thousand worlds. After examining it, he threw out the 4-elephant sword formation. He no longer had any use for the sword formation. To protect one's body through fighting skills, the power of Pantuo divine sword and Pantuo divine palm is enough. The magic power lies in the essence but not in the quantity. The Jishi Immortal Hoe is a treasure for digging out elixirs. The best immortal tools are enough, so there is no need to worry about upgrading them. The green bamboo staff, storage gourd, and Qingyun Taoist robe are just magic weapons to accompany you. Don't expect them to kill powerful enemies, and there is no need to rush to practice them. The three talents divine sect and the heavenly secret divine sphere can no longer keep up with the speed of his cultivation improvement, but these treasures are extremely important. Would you like to bring Tai's Hichuluashu? Although it was only a copy of the Xiantian Lingbao River Tuluashu, it was also a top-grade immortal treasure that could both set up formations and perform deductions, which was enough for him to use for a period of time. However, Su Junming was used to using Tianji Divine Ball, and although Hichuluashu was good, he was not very comfortable with it. Moreover, Hichuluashu has no way forward. Instead of having headaches in the future, it is better to find a path that suits him from now on. As for the Sankei Shenmen, there is no need to continue to maintain the body of the innate spiritual treasure. Pull out the innate immortal spiritual light inside, practice some low-grade innate spiritual treasures and reward them to your disciples. It will also give me, Chongshan Academy, a few more important inherited treasures. The Tao principles contained in low-grade innate spiritual treasures have a huge auxiliary effect on young disciples' enlightenment. Tianlai Guo, Pan Tuo Divine Spear and Kongshanju. Su Junming's only three middle-grade immortal treasures. The former is the Thunder Dao immortal treasure, and the middle one is the Fighting immortal treasure. Chongshan residence is Su Junming's dojo and headquarters. He uses the cornucopia of forbidden rituals to practice. The more treasures placed in it, the stronger the power will be. Therefore, even if it is only a middle-grade innate spiritual treasure, its power is comparable to that of the Deluo spiritual treasure due to the presence of the Tiangong divine furnace, the creation spirit pond, and many other treasures. It is the real treasure at the bottom of the box in Su Junming's hands. After thinking for a while, he took out the thunder drum. Although I have always liked this Thunder Dao immortal treasure that has been with me for thousands of years, for a long time, except for using it when going through tribulations, most of it has been gathering dust in my storage gourd. Instead of doing this, it is better to give it to my disciples and let them know. It plays a bigger role. Put away the immortal hoe, the green bamboo staff, the storage gourd, and the Qingyun Taoist robe. Fingers fly, Dharma seals speak. Slowly draw out all the innate immortal aura within the Sankei divine gate, and then seal it. As for the secret divine ball, he doesn't have a good idea for the time being and will leave it to the future. With a wave of his hand, 3 divine gates flew into the Tiangong divine furnace. At the same time, the spiritual materials accumulated earlier also flew in. This time, he will practice Sankei Shenmen again. Time passed little by little while Su Junming was refining the weapon. 3 years later, Chongshan Academy came out like a tiger and swept the entire Qi state. 10 years later, he conquered Zhao state in the north, Liang state northeast of Jingshan, and Nanshan Ghost state to the west of Jingshan. At this time, Chongshan Academy has become an existence that is 700 million miles in length, 500 million miles from east to west, and has a population of 5 trillion, among hundreds of medium-sized countries in the southern continent. 13 years have passed, and a lot has changed, both in people and in things. Su Xian, who was wearing a green robe and holding a piece of dogtail grass in his mouth, lay on his back on the roof of his house, looking at the sky in the distance. It was cloudless and the sun was shining brightly. The warm feeling from inside to outside made him feel comfortable. Narrowed his eyes. The boy he once was has grown into an 18-year-old young man. Years of practice have given him an elegant aura of transcendence. Coupled with his handsome appearance, he has fascinated countless young girls and young wives in Hangcheng County. Because he had already reached the crown, Su Xian also changed his mind to his parents who had obtained Su Xian for him when he was a child. "Junior brother, you are so leisurely." The familiar voice shocked his heart. His eyes widened and he looked to the right. Under the bright sunshine, a golden-haired monkey wearing a green shorts, mango shoes, and a silk ribbon around his waist appeared in front of him. Senior brother. Su Xian, who looked happy, jumped up. Haha, junior brother, we haven't seen each other for 2 years. Sun Shi smiled and patted Su Xian on the shoulder. The experience of becoming a disciple at almost the same time and learning Taoism at the same time allowed the two to form a deep friendship. Where has senior brother been in the past 2 years? I really miss him. Su Xian asked quickly after nodding. Master asked me to go to Wu Island in the West Sea to collect medicine, and I just came back now. I didn't hear that my junior brother returned to Hangzhou to settle down after leaving the army, so I came here to have a look. As he said that, he looked up and down and smiled. Not bad, not bad. You are already in the late stage of Yuan Shen. If you practice hard, you will be able to overcome the tribulation and become an immortal within 3 or 4 years at most. Hey, my cultivation is nothing compared to my senior brother. As early as 10 years ago, my senior brother had already become a Yuan Yang celestial immortal. He was probably either a true immortal or a mysterious immortal. Anyway, much stronger than him. Sun Shi smiled faintly and didn't say much about it. As soon as he patted the red gourd on his waist, a milky white cloud flew out. Junior brother, this Tianluo of creation is an immortal weapon given to you by Master. It contains the wonderful principles of the Tao of creation. It can be used to activate your green bamboo staff, and its power can be increased several times. Feeling the mystery of these milky white clouds, Su Xian looked surprised. Is this really what Master gave me? Certainly. Su Xian summoned the projection of the human soul gate and knelt down to pray. Disciple, I would like to thank my mentor for the gift of this treasure. Su Junming's phantom appeared on the human soul divine gate, nodded slightly to Su Xian, and then disappeared. After accepting the gift. Brother, let's go sit at my house. Haha, there's no need to sit down. I have to go to their junior uncle's place. When I come back, I can have a good time with junior brother. After saying that, he took a step and his figure disappeared instantly. Good go, senior brother. After cheering loudly, Su Xian turned over and jumped off the roof. This is a very ordinary small courtyard with 2 entrances. He has been living here with his sister since she got married a few years ago. Chinese, Chinese. Hearing her sister's words, Su Xian quickly walked to the backyard. Sister, what's the matter? Su Jiarong, who had already tied up her bun and wore a long blue skirt, looked much richer than when she was young. Although he learned a set of cultivation methods when he was with Su Junming, because he did not have this ambition, he is now only at the late stage of innate cultivation. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 824. Chapter 805 Hunyuan Divine Sect, The Power of Time. Who were you talking to just now? Senior brother Sun, it came to see me just now. Senior brother Sun? Sun Shi, Su Jiarong said in surprise. At that time, she almost recognized the other person as a monster, and of course she remembered it deeply. You kid really doesn't understand etiquette. People come all the way to your house, but you don't invite them in to sit down. The words have not yet been spoken. Are there guests at home? Following a slightly hoarse voice, a middle-aged man wearing a soap-colored police uniform, with a square face, 3 strands of long beard on his chin, and an upright look walked in. This person is Li Gongfu, a squadron leader of the Hangcheng County Criminal Police Corps, whose cultivation level has reached the middle stage of nascent soul. When it was still the Qi state, this man was just a young catcher who had just joined the Yamen to fill his father's vacancy. Later, Chongshan Academy occupied Qi state and popularized spiritual practice. The Yamen is also a top priority. After weeding out a group of mediocre people who are no match for the common people, a handful of catchers who have cultivation qualifications and are responsible remain. Li Gongfu, who has moderate cultivation qualifications and is an upright person, is one of them. Later, after 3 years of training at the police academy under the criminal department of Chongshan Academy, he became a criminal police officer in Hangcheng County. Over the years, he worked hard and made a lot of achievements. With the help of his brother-in-law, he became the squadron leader in the middle stage of nascent Seoul. Of course, the criminal police and so on are completely used. After all, Chongshan Academy completely regulates the land and population under its control according to the standards of modern society. Of course, it also needs a modern management system to prevent it from being too pretentious and making a fool of itself. It's Han Wen's senior brother. He left before entering the house. While talking, Su Jiarong walked forward thoughtfully, took the knife from her husband's hand, and put it on the table next to her. Senior brother from Han Wen. Li Gongfu was stunned. Although he didn't know the specific status of his brother-in-law in Chongshan Academy, he could guess just by looking at his boss's polite attitude towards him. His senior brother must also be a big shot in Chongshan Academy. Sister, brother-in-law, and senior brother have important matters to attend to, so it is inconvenient to stay for a long time. When he comes again next time, we will just entertain him. His eyes turned. Wow, sister, lunch is so rich today. As he spoke, he ran over, pulled off a chicken leg, put it in his mouth and ate it. Su Jiarong frowned angrily and went up to grab her brother's ears. It's so dirty, go wash your hands quickly. Hey, sister, let go, it hurts. Seeing the intimacy between the two siblings, Li Gongfu shook his head slightly, rolled up his sleeves, and prepared to wash his hands and eat. In fact, both he and Su Xian had already reached the stage of fasting, but they were just sitting here to take care of Su Jiarong's feelings. Moreover, having lost his mother at the age of 3 and his father at the age of 16, he also needs the warmth of family. After lunch. Han Wen, tomorrow is the Qingming festival. Get ready and come with me to visit the grave. I know, sister. Also, my sister knows that you are high-minded, but now you have reached the age where you should get married. If you don't find a girl you think is suitable, my sister will help you introduce one. Su Xian sweated violently. Now he has only just reached the crown. Although I don't exclude Taoist companions, I don't have such thoughts yet. Sister, I have classes at school in the afternoon, so I'll leave first. After saying that, without waiting for Su Jiarong to say anything more, she took a step and flew out like lightning. Hey, I haven't finished speaking yet. You are so careless, don't you see that Han Wen is not willing? Besides, can he like the vulgar fans you introduced? Li Gongfu said. Why is she so vulgar? The eldest daughter of the old Lu family on Jian Street is also a teacher in the college. She is as beautiful as a flower and well educated. Why is she so vulgar? Seeing his furious wife, Li Gongfu was instantly defeated. Okay, I can't talk to you. I'm going to work. He quickly picked up the knife and went out, fleeing in confusion. Watching the figure go away, Su Jiarong was still angry. Really, none of them let me worry. I really owed them my last life. Boom. The exploding thunder finally passed after showing off its power for the last time. The 4 huge gates, bathed in thunder, gradually became clearer. The majestic stone gate exudes a domineering aura that determines the world. Each divine gate is different. The divine gate on the east side is entirely crystal-colored, and its mysterious lines reveal the power of time. The lintel in the center is engraved with 2 complex divine patterns. If you cultivate enough, you can understand that it is the word Hunyuan. The divine gate on the west side is entirely azure, with divine inscriptions embossed on the door pillars on both sides and the stone gate in the middle. The broad lintel in the middle is the word celestial phenomenon. The base of the divine gate is extremely generous, and two unicorns sit squatting with their backs against the gate pillars. Although they are dead objects, they possess an inviolable majesty. The divine gate on the south side is bronze in color. Except for the word Kshitigarbha on the lintel, there are no divine patterns on the doorposts and door leaves. Two green cows lie on the base, with their eyes half open and half closed. Although they look leisurely, people dare not look directly at them. The divine gate on the north side is completely black in color. On the lintel is the word human soul, with iron paintings and silver hooks, which carries its own majesty. There are no divine patterns on the divine gate, and there are no strange beasts next to it. There is just a thick colorful gourd vine, growing around the divine gate like a spiritual snake. Among the dense vine leaves of the gourd vine, a white gourd and a purple gourd flower are growing vigorously. The four divine gates are all of extraordinary momentum and vastness. Hundreds of feet of creation aura poured down, and after absorbing this aura, the auras of the four divine gates became stronger and stronger, and six thick and complicated restrictions emerged one by one. A majestic force that suppresses the universe, heavens, and worlds and is unchangeable throughout the ages. The four colors of white, green, yellow, and black shine brightly for thousands of miles. Su Junming stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the four-elephant divine sect that he had spent 13 years of hard work on, and trained on the basis of the Sankei divine section with his current state of mind and cultivation. He couldn't help but be extremely excited. Four top-level fairy treasures, one of which is independently separated, are all top-notch things. If they are combined together, they will set up a large formation of four elephants. There are three major categories: sleepiness, killing, and illusion, and hundreds of them are applied in one. Powerful and powerful. Especially the newly acquired Hunyuan divine sect, which represents time, can give him hundreds of times more training time. You really worked it out. Tai Zhenjun could not help but marvel in his heart when he felt the powerful and boundless aura of the four divine gates. With the four great divine gates in hand, even when facing Tai Xianxian, he is still capable of fighting. Su Junming waved his hand, and the towering divine gate instantly shrank, turning into four streams of light that flew into his palm. It's a pity that my understanding of the Tao of time is still not enough. Otherwise, I would be confident that I can take them to the next level and become top-grade immortal treasures. That's enough. How can you become fat after one bite? There was a pause. By the way, why did you let Sun Shi go to the third child? Aren't you afraid that the four monkeys will fight as soon as they meet? With the support of Su Junming, a man who is good at deduction, the Dragon Emperor finally found the six-eared macaque. The six-eared macaque, which is good at listening to sounds, can sense things, know the front and back, and understands all things, is indeed worthy of the name of the four monkeys in the world. Although it was born not long ago and there was no one to teach it, it has already become an immortal. Of course, this level of cultivation was not enough in front of the Dragon Emperor, so he was captured easily. Naturally, he became the third disciple of the Dragon Emperor. It's just a fiction that the four monkeys in the world don't want to meet each other. If this is true, General Benba and Marshal Malu will not work together under Sun Wukong. How do you know? As soon as he finished speaking, Tai Zhenjun knew that he had asked a stupid question. Ever since Su Junming realized his destiny in the Tai realm and retrained the heavenly mystery ball as a middle-grade immortal treasure, his deduction ability has increased nearly 100 times. Many issues that were unclear or vague before are now as clear as a palm. Glancing at him, he said, "There is an inexplicable bond between the four monkeys in this world, which allows them to practice together and stimulate each other's potential, and then improve quickly." True Lord Tai nodded slightly. The four monkeys in the mixed world are truly unparalleled in their qualifications. It has only been 13 years since Sun Shi became a disciple of yours, but his cultivation level has already reached the level of Yuan Yang Golden Immortal. The six-eared macaque spent 7 years under Lao San's disciples. Not only did he develop the great five elements divine light, he also cultivated himself. He has also reached the realm of Yuan Yang Xianxian. After all, they are all innate gods at the Tai Chi level, so they are naturally extraordinary. Seeing the Hunyuan divine sect in Su Junming's hand, Tai Zhenjun's eyes showed eagerness. Your treasure should be ready to use now, right? Certainly. Su Junming said confidently. How many times can the time be slowed down? 10 times. Why only 10 times? What do you mean it's only 10 times? You've already advanced to Tai True Immortal. Being able to have a time delay of 10 times shows how powerful my treasure is, Su Junming said, dissatisfied. Because he got the Daodi inner elixir of the great Luo Jingxian realm in Chixian Shenzhou, the innate Tai Chi devouring fundamental energy contained in it was enough for Tai Zhenjun to not have to consider the issue of mana before he reached the same realm. As long as the realm is reached, you can advance at any time with the help of the innate devouring fundamental energy in the Daodi inner elixir. As for the problem that the other monks are worried about, the demonic energy of the demon race and the mana of the human race are not from the same source, it is not a big deal for Tai Zhenjun, who practices the way of devouring. As long as the original avenue is the same, it is easy to transform. So 13 years later, Tai Zhenjun improved his understanding of the way of swallowing to a higher level and successfully advanced. That's right. It's even 10 times more powerful. Come on, let me feel the power of the Hunyuan divine section. You know, what I lack most now is time. How long will it take for you to advance to Tai Xianxian? 100 years of time. After thinking for a moment, True Lord Tai said cautiously. Where is Tai Golden Immortal? Thousands of years of time. Although there is a bronze mirror projection, it is not the original body after all, and the blessing for understanding is not as powerful as imagined. Considering that there are too many powerful people in the earthly immortal world, Chongshan Academy really needs someone who can control the situation. Except for Ao Tian, who will definitely not be able to come here, among the remaining 4 people, only Zhenjun Tai has the most hope. Su Junming activated the Hunyuan Divine Gate, instantly transforming it into a 3-foot-long giant. Thousands of spiritual energy gathered and turned into sticky spiritual energy, which was quickly swallowed by Hunyuan Zhenman. Tai Zhenjun's eyes lit up. Your Hunyuan Zhenman still has the ability to gather spirits. Su Junming smiled and nodded. Unlike Tai Zhenjun, what he lacks most is mana. Of course, the spirit gathering formation must be carved on the Hunyuan Divine Gate. Come on, let's go in. A clone came out of the body and controlled the Hunyuan Divine Gate. Su Junming and Tai Zhenjun walked in hand. Hunyuan Zhenman can only slow down Tai Zhenjun 10 times, who has advanced to the Tai Zhenxian realm. But for Su Junming, who was still in the Tai Immortal realm, he was able to slow down 100 times. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 825. Chapter 806 by Sohen. After Su Junming himself and Tai Zhenjun entered the Hunyuan Divine Gate, another clone emerged from among the clones who stayed to control the Hunyuan Divine Gate. This clone took one step and arrived at the teleportation hall of Kongshanju. Here is a huge and magnificent cross-border teleportation formation that is thousands of feet tall. In fact, if you want to connect to the world of Chongshan, the newly refined Celestial Elephant Gate is easier than this cross-border teleportation array. But cross-border transmission requires a huge amount of spiritual energy. The newly refining Tianxiang Shenman certainly does not have enough spiritual energy reserves. Su Junming didn't want to waste time gathering spiritual energy. On the contrary, This teleportation altar will automatically replenish spiritual energy and can be used anytime and anywhere. It is currently the most suitable. After forming a seal with both hands, and the complicated hand skills flew into it, a vast spiritual light bloomed above the altar. Gradually, a 3-foot-long space passage condensed and took shape. It didn't take long, and countless escaping lights flew from it. After landing, core disciples such as Qinzhong, Lin Zhenying, and Qiao Shaoxin appeared, as well as named disciples such as Su Yang, Our Lady of the Golden Needle, and Qiankang. There are nearly 300,000 people in total. This is the most elite force that Chongshan Academy has accumulated over thousands of years. They are all direct descendants and inner disciples, and more than 90% of them are immortals. Among them, Qinzhong, Lin Zhenying, Qiao Shaoxin, Yan Chixia, Su Huang and other direct disciples have reached the perfection of Yu and Yang Golden Immortal. If it were not for the purpose of solidifying their foundation, they would have been able to survive the tribulation. After everyone came over, Su Junming turned off the teleportation array, and his body floated 9 feet in the air, appearing in front of all the disciples. "See my mentor, the master's uncle." The crowd shouted loudly. "No courtesy, please get up." "Thank you, master, uncle master." "Your fourth uncle must have told you the reason why you are summoned here." As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes instantly became a little hot. The spiritual energy of the Great Thousand World is hundreds of times richer than that of the Chongshan world. Here, their cultivation level can be improved faster. The earthly immortal world, which is thousands of times larger than the Chongshan world, also has more treasures and opportunities. Therefore, when the news that you can go to practice in the world spread among the direct descendants and inner disciples of Chongshan Academy, except for the disciples who have family concerns, or are on the verge of breakthrough, and who must stay at the base camp, the 500 direct descendants and disciples of Chongshan Academy, 1/3 of the million inner disciples came. Now we, Chongshan Academy, have established a foundation in the earthly immortal world. You will first go to Chongshan Academy to teach in various places. After becoming familiar with the situation in this world, you can then consider your future actions. Disciple, please obey. Su Junming nodded slightly. With the accumulation in Tianwai Shenshan, it is only enough for Chongshan Academy to expand to its current level. If you want to continue to rapidly expand your strength, you must mobilize manpower from Chongshan world. Therefore, he transferred all these people over. With the support of these high-end combat capabilities, it is enough for Chongshan Academy to rapidly expand its territory to 30 billion miles. Don't think this is huge, just looking south, the continent is 20 trillion miles across. 30 billion miles is just 1,000th. After making a few handprints and pointing a finger, the human soul divine gate flashed with light, and soon the figures of Lining, Zhoulang, and Yangda appeared in everyone's eyes. The three of you have been in the earthly immortal realm for many years and are familiar with the situation here. They will leave it to you to make arrangements. Disciple, obey. Go ahead. Su Junming waved his sleeves, and all the inner disciples left Chongshan residence instantly. Suddenly, the entire hall became empty. Looking at the disciples standing respectfully below, Su Junming smiled lightly. Su Fei, you are fatter than your father. Standing at the end of the first row, a fat man wearing a green Taoist robe, as fat as a drum, with a face like a silver basin, who was 70% similar to Zhenjun Tai, almost fell down when he heard this. He never expected that in such a solemn and formal atmosphere, the usually upright and serious headmaster would actually make such a joke. The one with a bold personality among the disciples burst into laughter. In an instant, the solemn atmosphere in the hall disappeared. Uncle Master, why didn't my father come? Su Fei said quickly. He was conceived by Tai Zhenjun with a drop of his own essence and blood, combined with the innate aura of creation. He was naturally a father and son. Your father is in retreat. But if he sees that you have now advanced to Taoist, he will definitely be very pleased. Hey hey. Su Fei smiled and touched the back of his head, with an expectant smile on his face. Turning his eyes, he looked at Qin Zhong and the others. It seems that you are not far from a breakthrough. It's all thanks to the teachings of my mentor Qin Zhong, Lin Zhenying, and others said in unison. After smiling, he stood up. You guys come with me. Turning forward, everyone quickly followed. After passing through a space passage, a 3-foot-long crystal stone door with silver-white patterns and an obscure and mysterious aura appeared in front of him. It is Hunyuan Zhenmen. This object is the important treasure of my new ritual practice. It contains the way of time and is called the Hunyuan Divine Sect. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. As the direct disciples of Chongshan, they all more or less understand the power of time. But in the world of cultivation, there are still many people who practice Hushan Dao, but no one can understand the time Dao. One can imagine the shock in Len Buting's heart when he saw an important time treasure. At the same time, their minds instantly recalled the half-clawed records about the way of time in the ancient books they had read, and their eyes gradually became expectant. As you can imagine, this door has the power to accelerate and decelerate time, which varies according to each person's cultivation level. How can you experience it by yourself? With a flick of the finger, 500 rays of divine light rushed up from the Hunyuan Divine Sect, blended into everyone's danshan, and formed a 4-image formation with the original Sankei Divine Sect. This treasure is the most precious treasure of our Chongshan Academy. Those who are not my direct disciples of Chongshan are not allowed to reveal even half of it to outsiders. Although the seal has been set, there are still some things that need to be said. Disciple, obey. The sound was more than twice as loud as before. The expressions were even more exciting, and everyone was eager to give it a try. Although the way of time is not as good as the bronze mirror, it is also a powerful tool to assist in practice. It's all gone. After the disciples bowed their hands, they left one after another. This is not the first time for them to come to Chongshan Residence and Tianwai Shenshan Small World. They all have their own places to go. Looking at their leaving figures, Su Junming had a hint of expectation on his face. It won't be long before Chongshan Academy will have 6 or 7 more Tai Celestial Immortals. Fireworks in March, Willows Yi. Both sides of the West Lake are full of life, with red flowers and green willows, and are also crowded with people who come here for an outing. Especially in the past 10 years or so, under the rule of Chongshan Academy, the country has been peaceful and the people are safe, the people are prosperous, and spiritual practice has become popular, so the popularity of tourism has been great. In addition, it is the Qingming festival, and many people take the opportunity to visit after paying homage to their ancestors. Su Xian is also one of them. After saying goodbye to his sister, brother, and husband, he finally had some personal space. Since he left school 2 years ago and returned to Chongshan Academy, Hangcheng County Intermediate Court, as a lecturer on King Mudao, his life has been busy. It's rare to be as idle as today. His brows furrowed slightly. As a monk at the Yuan Shen level, his 5 senses were very sharp. Soon I noticed several paying attention. Turning around subconsciously, a woman dressed in white, with her hair held high, who is extremely elegant and dignified, comes into view. When their eyes met, Su Xian couldn't help but feel excited. A feeling that he had never felt before rose from the bottom of his heart, making him blush and his heart beat secretly, and he was secretly panicking. Sister, is this the destined person you are looking for? The crisp and lively voice made Su Xian turn his head subconsciously. A beautiful woman wearing a long cyan skirt and a double bun came into view. Evil spirit. He frowned. He sensed a clear demonic aura from this green-robed woman. I wanted to use my magic power to see the true nature of this woman in green. But after thinking about it, he stopped again. One of the most important academic purposes of Chongshan Academy is all spirits are equal. Even if you are a demon, if you abide by the laws of Chongshan, you can live peacefully in the territory under the rule of Chongshan Academy. Therefore, he doesn't have that much resentment or prejudice against the demon clan. What's more, the heaven demon transformation technique can also transform demons into humans. He turned around and looked at the woman who made his heart move. Her temperament showed that she was also a practitioner. If nothing else, they are also demons. Destined person? Are you talking about me? The bright gaze of the woman in white made him subconsciously want to avoid her. Su Xian, who was taught human ethics and etiquette, was well versed in the etiquette of not seeing anything inappropriate. He quickly turned his head and walked towards the broken bridge in the distance. Sister, sister, everyone is gone. The shaking of her delicate hands interrupted her vision. Looking at the retreating figure, Bai Suhan felt lost. Sister, is that stupid goose the one you are looking for? That unique feeling has never appeared in any man. Bai Suhan believed that she had found the right person. I really can't see how he is worthy of you, sister. A person should not be judged by his appearance, and he is a monk. Monk? How is it possible? Why can't he see any traces of cultivation on his body? Perhaps he has the secret to conceal his aura just like me. However, when he formed the seal just now, his aura was exposed and I could sense it. This person is definitely a strong man with spiritual cultivation. What? Yuan Shen, doesn't that mean you are stronger than me? Xiao Qing said in surprise. Bai Suhan nodded. With his spiritual cultivation at such a young age, it can be seen that he is also a well-known teacher and has excellent qualifications. Then do we still want to catch up? Seeing her hesitation, Bai Suhan smiled and said, what are you afraid of? Didn't the immortal say that when we came here? All living beings under Chongshan Academy are equal. As long as we abide by the rules and don't kill people randomly, we can come and go as we please. Xiao Qing then remembered what they saw and heard along the way after entering the jurisdiction of Chongshan Academy. He breathed a sigh of relief. Isn't it like once bitten by a snake, 10 years afraid of well ropes? But this Chongshan Academy is really different, it can actually allow the human and demon races to live in harmony. Bai Suhan nodded in agreement. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 826. Chapter 807 Fahey doesn't understand love. Outside of Chongshan Academy, most of the human sects are aggressive towards monsters, and often call them monsters. No wonder Xiao Qing, a wild monster, is afraid of them. Sister, he's gone far away. Should we catch up? Bai Suhan nodded. If she cannot subdue her inner demons, she will never be able to become a true immortal of Yuan Yang. Etc. After stopping Bai Suhan. Sister, we don't know whether he is good or evil, or what his character is. If we go there rashly, we might be afraid of something unexpected happening in the future. In my opinion, why don't we observe him for a few days before making a decision? Bai Suhan thought the same thing. Although she was very sure that the other person was the destined person she was looking for, if the other person had bad conduct, she would have to think carefully about ways to repay her kindness. Come on, let's follow up and take a look first. Xiao Qing nodded. The two sisters followed quietly. Su Xian has been taught by Su Junming for many years, so his character is naturally good. Coupled with his handsome appearance and the fate of his previous life, the two came together within less than a month. Amitabha, donor, please stay. Su Xian, who was impatient to go to the appointment with the beautiful woman, turned around, and a slightly fat old monk wearing cassock, holding a Zen staff, with drooped eyebrows appeared in his eyes. For some reason, he felt an inexplicable dislike for this old monk. I wonder what the master's instructions are for calling Xiaoke. The old monk took a few steps forward. Amitabha, does the donor know that the woman in white you meet every day is actually a snake demon who has been practicing for thousands of years? Su Xian's heart moved and he nodded. No. No. Under the rule of Chongshan Academy, all spirits are equal. Even monsters, as long as they abide by the rules, can walk freely in our Chongshan territory without risk. The love between a human and a monster is also recognized by the government. So, even if it is a monster, so what? The old monk's eyebrows trembled, and his eyes showed anger. The rules of Chongshan Academy were completely different from those of other Taoist sections. Although it was a sect, it was like a secular country. What made it even more unbearable for him was that the other party was extremely tolerant of the demon clan. It was simply unbelievable. Take a deep breath. The rules set by Chongshan Academy are for those good monsters. If they are evil monsters that eat people, kill people, and steal people's treasures, this is not the case. Whether it is an evil demon or not, I can decide for myself, so I won't bother you, master. After that, he was about to turn around and leave. After taking 2 steps forward, he suddenly stopped and turned around, saying in a cold voice, "Master, my Chongshan Academy has stipulated that Buddhist sects are prohibited from preaching here. I hope you will abide by it. Otherwise, I won't mind reporting it to the sect and expelling you." As soon as he finished speaking, his figure flickered and disappeared instantly. Fahey's pupils shrank and he was secretly shocked. Monk. Just now, he didn't feel the other party's cultivation at all. After the shock subsided, he frowned. Recalling the other party's previous tone, it was no surprise that he was also a disciple of Chongshan Academy. However, Chongshan Academy seems to have a strong prejudice against Buddhism and does not allow Buddhists to preach in Chongshan. With all the constraints here, I'm afraid it will be difficult to fulfill Master's instructions. Chongshan Academy governs more than 1 billion miles, which means that there is at least one powerful person in the Tai realm in the section. Although he is a true immortal of Yu and Yang, he does not dare to provoke such a being at all. It seems that I can only ask Master for help. Inside the Hunyuan Divine Gate, Su Junming slowly opened his eyes. He reached out and touched the human soul gate, and a piece of information entered the sea of consciousness. Sensing his strange movement, Tai Zhenjun next to him also opened his eyes. What's wrong? Destiny cannot be violated. He pointed a little, and a ray of spiritual light sank into Tai's sea of consciousness. Haha, I didn't expect that Su Xian would be able to get together with Bai Suhen after becoming a disciple of Chongshan. It is indeed destiny. By the way, are you going? Su Xian is also my registered disciple after all. Now that we are getting married, as a master, of course I have to go. Go in person. He shook his head. His meritorious deeds were at a critical level now and he didn't want to leave seclusion until he had to. As his heart moved, a clone flew out of his body. At the same time, the sky thunder drum blended into it, and the clone that was originally as solid as a real person became condensed countless times in an instant. This is the technique of borrowing objects to replace forms that he understood. Not only will the clone be more realistic, but it will also be able to unleash the full power of the thunder drum. Although it is not as good as the top-level Soul Deo supernatural power such as the Seven Spirits Dharmakaya, it is much stronger than a simple clone. The clone pointed at the celestial elephant gate, and after passing through it, it disappeared instantly. Everything inside Hunyuan Zhenmen became quiet again. The Su family in Hangcheng County is now decorated with lanterns and colorful decorations and is very lively. The surrounding neighbors all knew that the Su family wanted to marry a wife, so they came over to help. Su Junming once again came to Hangzhou where he had lived for 3 years. It could be seen that under the 10 years of Chongshan Academy's rule, there had been considerable changes here. The streets are wider and smoother, the houses are neater, there are more than a dozen lakes and parks, and most importantly, the beggars that were once everywhere are gone. No one wears patched up beggar clothes anymore. However, I can still vaguely see what it was like when I left. After identifying the direction, he took a step forward and his body plummeted. Soon they came to the outside of a house decorated with lights. On both sides of the door, a yellow-haired monkey wearing a yellow robe with a gold rope tied around his waist, a green-haired monkey wearing a green robe, also tied with a gold rope around his waist, but with azure hair, were hanging lanterns. Yellow monkey, your lantern is hung high. Shit, green-haired monkey, your cock is too high. Come down and take a look. Why didn't you come down and take a look? The green-haired monkey said. Because I am a senior brother and you are a junior brother, you have to listen to me, the yellow-haired monkey said proudly. Go away, master said, senior brother must love and protect junior brother, so you have to work more and see your fat body by the way. Wow, you stinky monkey, are you looking for a beating? Hee hee, if you dare to disrupt junior brother Sue's wedding, the headmaster will definitely beat your butt flat, the green-haired monkey said with a smile. Huang Ho was stunned and snorted angrily, I'm too lazy to pay attention to you. The next moment, the two monkeys turned around at the same time. Seeing the tall figure descending from the sky, holding a bamboo stick and wearing a green robe, his expression was instantly surprised. In particular, the yellow monkey stepped forward in a flash, turned over and prostrated. Disciple Sun Shi pays homage to his mentor. Disciple Sun Er pays homage to the headmaster. He glanced at a pair of 6 ears behind Sun Er's head. Everyone, get up. Where are your junior brothers? Getting ready to pick up the bride. Come on, let's go in. A group of 3 people walked into the compound. When the neighbors saw them, there was still a hint of fear in their eyes. This is normal. 10 years is far from enough for people to let go of their fear of monsters. However, when the older generation passes away and the new generation of disciples who accept the teachings of Chongshan Academy grow up, this situation will be fundamentally reversed. Stepping into the main hall, Su Xian, who was wearing jifu, instantly saw the teacher coming in. With great joy in his heart, he quickly stepped forward, turned over, and prostrated. Disciple Su Xian pays homage to his mentor. He took a step forward, stretched out his hand to lift the disciple up, and said with a smile, "Today is your special day. Master, congratulations to you. But for getting your wife today, don't slack off in your practice in the future. My master's teachings, my disciples should keep them in mind and never forget them." He nodded and turned his eyes. Look at Li Gongfu and Su Jiarong. You two have a deep love as a couple, which is great. The left palm is spread out, and a blue porcelain bottle appears in the palm. I have a good fortune pill here. I will give it to you today. Take it tomorrow and I will ensure that you will give birth to a linner with excellent qualifications. The two of them were overjoyed. Their biggest worry had always been that they never had children. This time they could solve it. Regardless of whether they were men or women, they had no regrets. Thank you, Mr. Su. Sir, please take a seat. As Su Xian's master, Su Junming should sit with his parents. However, Su Xian had no parents, so Su Junming sat at the top. Li Gongfu and Su Jiarong could only sit in the second seat because they were a generation shorter. You two will accompany your junior brother Su to pick up the bride. Sun Shi and Sun Er nodded respectfully. The two monkeys, one Yuan Yang Golden Immortal and the other Yuan Yang Xianxian, can use their innate magical powers to fight even ordinary Tai realms. The two of them guarantee that everything will be safe. This is also true. In less than half an hour, Su Xian had already brought back Bai Sohen, who was wearing a bright red wedding dress. Although Su Junming is only a clone at this moment, he can also use the power of the bronze mirror. Bai Sohen's true identity was instantly revealed. It turned out to be a white jade spirit snake. The white jade spirit snake is a species of Yuan-Yang immortal. It has the magical power of Yuan-Yang immortal when it reaches adulthood. Moreover, this snake is born with a pure spiritual light, so after becoming a demon, most of them are kind-hearted. Looking at the luck on the top of his head, like Su Xian, the purple chi is tangled to form a Ganoderma shape, which obviously also has good luck. Turning to look at the little maid in a green skirt next to her, a green snake more than 10 feet long came into view. A green bamboo leaf? But this green snake is so lucky. It follows the white snake and is protected by its luck. It has the hope of becoming an immortal in the future. Su Xian served as the master of ceremonies as the dean of the intermediate court of Chongshan Academy. Worship heaven and earth. Second thanks, master. Su Junming glanced at him. This dean was indeed a shrewd guy. Su Xian has no parents, so he naturally wants to be his teacher. Husband and wife bow to each other. Send it to the bridal chamber. It's done. In ancient weddings, there was no part of the bride and groom coming out to toast the guests. Only the groom, Su Xian, was drunk. Fortunately, he was also a monk, and Zhou Tian could easily force out the alcohol odor by using his magic power. So, it doesn't matter how much you drink. When the day of feasting is over, the young couple should perform courteous rituals. If Su Junming has something to say, he will leave it to the next day. He took Sun Shi and Sun Er back to the small courtyard where they had lived for 3 years, and made a few seals to seal the entire courtyard. The second-generation disciples of my Chongshan sect all have an innate spiritual treasure that suits their own path. As an inheritance item, a treasure of luck. The 14 senior brothers and sisters above you all have it, and you are naturally no exception. The eyes of the 2 monkeys lit up instantly. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 827. Shitu, you practice martial arts and the Aoki way. In martial arts, perseverance comes first, and diligent study and practice are the most important. You don't need any advanced understanding. On the contrary, the Aoki way, as the foundation of the 5 elements, becomes more profound as you go deeper. This time, I will give you a low-grade innate spiritual root, which can not only suppress your personal cave, but also help you realize the Great Road. As he spoke, Su Junming opened his palms, and a leafy green tree slowly emerged. Master, is this a peach tree? Sun Shi's eyes lit up instantly. His favorite thing to eat is peaches. Yes, this is a 3-color Baiun peach. It takes 100 years to bloom, 100 years to bear fruit, and 100 years to mature. I hope you will take good care of it. This 3-color Baiun peach was originally a top-quality immortal root in his creation spiritual island. Su Junming extracted the innate immortal aura from the celestial gate, and with the help of the creation aura in the creation spirit pool, he advanced it into the lower grade of the plant has innate spiritual roots. Disciple, thank you master. Turning his eyes, the expectant green-haired monkey's face came into his eyes. Although the 4 monkeys in the world are all innate gods at the Tai Chi level, each monkey has different talents. Like Sun Shi, the Lingming stone monkey understands changes, knows the time of the sky, knows the location, and can move stars and change battles. It is obvious that this is a talent for practicing both magic and martial arts. The red hat horse and monkey know yin and yang, understand people and affairs, are good at going in and out, avoid death and prolong life. This is a talent in cultivation, but not in martial arts. The arm-armed ape takes the sun and the moon, shrinks away from thousands of mountains, distinguishes the good and the bad, and twists and turns the universe. Completely opposite to the red hat horse monkey, he is born with the seeds of martial arts. The last 6-eared macaque is good at listening to sounds, able to understand, know the front and back, and everything is clear. He is obviously also a talented monk, and he is definitely the smartest one among the 4 monkeys in the world. It's a pity that in Journey to the West, there was no one to teach him, and he relied solely on his own talent to grow wildly, so that he was plotted by Buddhism and his talent was wasted. And unlike Sun Shi, its soul and body are completely Tai Chi level innate gods. Therefore, Sun Shi was supported by Su Junming's numerous elixirs, and it took him 14 years to grow into Yuan Yang Golden Immortal. It only took Sun Er 7 years to reach the late stage of Tai Xianxian. Not surprisingly, he will advance to Yuan Yang Golden Immortal or even Tai Realm faster. By moving the bronze mirror, you can see that the luck on the top of Sun Er's head is as red as a blazing fire, soaring 3 feet into the air, but it is far less powerful than that of Sun Shi. And there is still a bit of a shaky posture. Obviously, Sun Er's path to Taoism was not as smooth as Sun Shi's. In addition, outside of these 3 feet of luck, there is a red line that is as thin as a hair and almost difficult to detect, extending into the dark, with almost no end in sight. Everything is indeed not that simple. However, since I have accepted this disciple, I can bear its consequences. The thought fell and his palms spread out. A pine tree with dry stems and colorful branches slowly emerged. The colorful splendid pine was created by Su Junming using the same method to draw out the innate immortal aura of Ksatagarbha Divine Gate. This colorful splendid pine is also a low-grade innate spiritual root, and it contains the Tao of the 5 elements. I will give it to you today. Disciple, thank you, Master. Sun Er looked respectful and took it with both hands. Su Junming practiced Sankei Shenmen and Tianji Shenkai again, and saved 4 innate immortal spiritual lights, but he no longer abided by the rule that there was only one innate spiritual treasure. Both Taoist Master Hesha and Sun Er received an innate treasure that contained the 5 elements. The low-grade innate spiritual treasure White Dragon Sword originally given to Taoist Master Hesha was taken back by Su Junming. After nodding slightly, he waved his hand. Everyone go back and rest. Disciple resigns. Early the next morning, the newlywed Su Xian and Bai Suhen came to serve tea to Su Junming. Master, please have tea. After taking it and drinking it, they asked them to sit down. Are you a disciple of Mother Lishan? Bai Suhen said quickly, no, I just listened to the sermon at my mother's door. Su Junming nodded slightly. This is normal. If Bai Suhen was really a disciple of Lishan Mother, how could she be suppressed by Fahe at the bottom of Lifeng Pagoda? In the end, he was able to escape with the help of his son. Do you know what Lishan's mother is like? Bai Suhen shook her head. My mother's magic power is profound, but my disciples really don't know it. Su Junming didn't ask any more questions. Based on Lishan's mother's status in this world, she is definitely a Tai Xianxian or even a Golden Immortal. After all, if you can sit on the same level as Guanyin Bodhisattva and Manjushri Bodhisattva, how can you take it easy? In comparison, Bai Suhen is no more than the true immortal Yuan Yang, so it is normal that she cannot see through it. I see there are a lot of flaws in your practice. What's going on? When I was a child, I had a chance and accidentally entered a Taoist monk's place. I acquired the technique, but it was not very profound. It only reached the realm of Yuan Yang Heavenly Immortal. Later, I listened to the Taoist teachings from my mother in Lishan and understood the mysteries. It took 300 years to master the technique. I understood the techniques of the true immortal realm and was able to achieve a breakthrough. You can teach yourself without a teacher, which shows that you have a deep understanding. After thinking for a moment, he said, since you are married to my disciple and have excellent qualifications, I will accept you as my registered disciple. Are you willing? Bai Suhen was overjoyed. She has already asked her husband-in-law about this master's simple situation. According to the current scale of Chongshan Academy, he is definitely a powerful person in the Tai realm. Being able to become a disciple of this person is definitely a great opportunity. Disciple is willing to pay homage to the master. Su Junming smiled and nodded. This Bai Suhen has good qualifications and understanding, and her temperament can be considered good. Accepting her as a registered disciple would not be an insult to her talent. A wave of his left hand. The projections of the three gates of celestial phenomena, Ksiddhagarbha, and human souls flew into her danshan. At the same time, a green jade bamboo staff and a white jade ruyi with flashing aura flew in front of her. The green jade bamboo staff is a magical weapon shared by all the disciples of my Chongshan inner section. The white jade ruyi contains the pure meaning of the law. It is a top-grade immortal weapon. I will give it to you today. It is not only a meeting gift, but also a wedding gift from the master. Thank you, master. Bai Suhen took it respectfully. Chinese. Master. I am the direct descendant of my Chongshan lineage, the Yuanyang Zhenjing, and it is up to you to teach it. Disciple, obey. Su Xian looked excited. Now he no longer had to keep secrets in front of his wife. Thinking of the situation where Qin and Se will be in harmony in the future, I feel naturally happy. Su Junming flicked his fingers, and a ray of spiritual light sank into Xiaoqing's body next to him. You, green snake, have some chance, so I will give you this technique. Xiaoqing instantly became happy when she felt that the profoundness of the consciousness Kung Fu was almost hundreds of times that of the Kung Fu she had practiced before. Disciple, thank you sir for giving me the Dharma. Su Junming smiled calmly and nodded slightly. The name of the technique he passed on to Xiaoqing is the Heaven Demon Transformation Technique. All the new demon clans within the jurisdiction of Chongshan Academy practice this technique. The most striking feature of this technique is that after advancing to the level of a heavenly immortal, you cannot continue to practice unless you are reincarnated as a human being. Of course, the heavenly demon transformation technique that Su Junming understood with the help of the bronze mirror is profound and mysterious. It is a top-level Qi training method. As long as you persist in practicing, you will not be short of skills even if you reach the Tai realm. Let's go, we've got a bad visitor, let's go meet him. Evil visitor. Everyone was startled and saw that Su Junming had already stood up, so they quickly followed him without asking any questions. They were all cultivators. They set up the escape light and soon arrived at a low mountain 100 miles outside the city. The cloud light descended, and not long after, I saw two yellow escaping lights flying towards me. Su Junming flicked his finger, thunder bursts, and the dazzling thunder light covered the surrounding area like a sky curtain. The two yellow lights were afraid of the thunder and stopped quickly. Two old monks appeared in front of everyone. One is obese, holding a Zen staff and looking like a toad. The other one is short and thin, with a sallow complexion, holding a black alms bowl in his left palm. He looks kind-hearted, like an eminent monk. It's him. Su Xian said in surprise. Junior brother, do you know these two bald guys? Sun Shi asked. I don't recognize the thin one, but I saw the fat one half a year ago. He still remembers what happened when the other party prevented him from getting along with Bai Suhen. Now that I think about it, I find it even more annoying. Master, the fat monk's name is Faihe. A 7-star toad in Jinshan Temple in Qixia Mountain became a spirit. He was later accepted as a disciple by Elder Zhong Kongzhen of Jinshan Temple and taught Buddhism. 300 years ago, his disciples met him in Biyandang. This man spoke evil words. Shut up and eliminate the demon, fight with the disciple, and then become enemies. Later on, there were frequent conflicts, and the grievances were deep. I came here this time for my disciples. Bai Suhen spoke eloquently. Su Junming nodded slightly, stay aside, there is no need to speak. Disciple, obey. When they were observing each other, Faihe and the old monk Kong Chan were also observing them. Master, that is Bai Suhen. In fact, Kong Chan could recognize Bai Suhen without pointing. After all, there were two women across from him, and the only one who could match his apprentice's cultivation level was the one wearing white clothes. However, he didn't care about Bai Suhen, but there were two monkeys with one golden hair, one green hair, and the green-robed Taoist standing in the middle, which made him feel afraid. He was able to control his breath without even noticing it, so his cultivation was obviously extraordinary. Amitabha, the poor monk Kong Chan, the elder of Jinshan Temple in Kixia Mountain, has met several donors. Even against the thunder just now, he didn't dare to explode. The thunder is so violent that it is difficult to comprehend. Therefore, no matter which world you are in, there is no simple character who can achieve something on the thunder road. Little monk, your skills are not worthy of knowing my name. Let your adults do it. Su Junming was old-fashioned. Of course, he also has this qualification. After all, he is an old guy who has lived for more than 1,000 years. The old monk Kong Chan took a breath. Senior will not leave his name. How can I tell my master about this? Even your master has never heard of my name. However, judging from your attitude, you will not retreat if I don't give you an explanation. Stone. Master. Sun Shi jumped out of the crowd. You compete with this little monk, don't let him go away empty-handed. Hey, I obey. Sun Shi pulled out the Qingshen Ruyi stick from his ear, activated the escape light, and came out over the crowd. There was a fierce fighting spirit on the monkey's face. Little monk, my disciple has the same cultivation level as you and Yang Golden Immortal like you, so I don't count as bullying you. Su Junming said calmly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 828. Chapter 809, The World-Honored Ksatagarbha, the Mighty Heavenly Dragon. Little monk, come here quickly. Grandpa Sun will compete with you. Kong Chan took a breath. He had reached the late Sotapanna Arhat stage. He was also the number one figure in the Buddhist temples in Nanzan Buzhu, so he thought highly of himself. Now that there are so many people guarding him, and his own disciples are present, of course he will not retreat before the battle. Amitabha, the old monk has come to teach the donor the Dharma. Fahe quickly stepped away to make room. Su Junming also led everyone away. Little monk, I want you to take action first. Amitabha, the old monk is offended. With a single palm raised, the Buddha's light all over his body rose into the sky like a sea tide, and the old monk Kong Chan in the background seemed to be divine in the sky. The next moment, a thunderous sound sounded. World-honored Ksatagarbha, the mighty heavenly dragon. Accompanied by an earth-shattering roar, 8 huge Dharma-protecting heavenly dragons, carrying a mighty golden Buddha's light, rushed towards Sun Shi overwhelmingly. Hee, it's just a small trick. Sun Shi's fighting spirit became more and more intense, and he did not wear any armor. He flicked the Qingshen Ruyi stick in his hand, and in an instant, the shadows of the stick rose into the sky. The powerful stick is like a mountain, and its power is astonishing. Boom! Shocking thunder exploded, and the billowing air waves spread thousands of miles. Su Junming waved his sleeves, dispelling all the impact. Sun Shi turned into golden light, stretched his stick forward, and the Qingshen Ruyi stick in his hand turned into a 100-foot-long giant, and crazily hit the old monk Kong Chan like a giant wall. Feeling the huge power of the stick, the old monk looked solemn and suddenly threw the alms bowl in his left palm. With a hint of finger, the black gold alms bowl that was originally small in size instantly turned into a giant of thousands of feet. The alms bowl is majestic, like a black gold mountain. Clang! The violent clash of gold and iron echoed throughout the sky. The old monk Kong Chan suddenly felt a huge force passing through the alms bowl, causing him to retreat continuously, and stopped after about 100 feet. This monster monkey is so strong. Seeing Sun Shi rushing up again with the big stick in his hand, the old monk Kongchan looked more and more solemn. Prajnaparamita, Deluo golden bowl. The black gold alms bowl buzzed, and a mighty golden light rushed out of the alms bowl. The dazzling golden light was not only dazzling, but also revealed a chilling sharpness. Wanting to use gold to defeat wood? It's a pity that it's a little short of that. Sun Shi's heart moved, and a blue gourd flew out from behind his head. It was the green wood gourd given by Su Junming when he first became a disciple. Make a seal with your hands. King Kong Shen Muo. In an instant, a huge tree, hundreds of feet thick and thousands of feet long, hit the golden light with a powerful and unstoppable momentum. Jingle ding ding. The jingling sound of fine iron became one, and in the shocked eyes of the old monk Kong Chan, the golden giant wood directly hit it with the divine light of the Deluo Jinbo. Not good. Boom. The old monk Kong Chan was shaken violently, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and his whole body was like a kite with broken strings, flying backwards in an instant. The golden light of the alms bowl also dissipated, turned into black gold again, and fell staggeringly. Winning with treasure is not what a hero does. Along with the mighty sound, a mighty moonlight fell from the sky. This light was as clear as water, but it revealed an endless and tyrannical force, as if the heaven and earth were being submerged. Su Junming stretched out his hand and made a boom sound. The powerful thunder surges thousands of feet. The domineering divine power of thunder brings with it a great power that cleanses the universe and sweeps across everything. Moonlight and thunder collide. It was as if the opposition between yin and yang exploded in an instant. In an instant, a bright fire light shot up into the sky thousands of feet, the clouds surged, contended, and tore the world apart, with an astonishing momentum. Wait for the sound to subside. Opposite there was a beautiful and indifferent Pictionai wearing apricot monk robes and holding a lotus in her left hand. Disciple Kong Chan, the elder of Jinshan Temple in Kixia Mountain, meets Moonlight Bodhisattva. Moonlight Bodhisattva? It turns out to be her, no wonder she has such cultivation. Su Junming suddenly felt enlightened. Moonlight Bodhisattva is known as the Three Saints of the East and is the Three Saints of the Oriental Glazed World, alongside Medicine Buddha and Sunlight Bodhisattva. Put aside those meaningless legends. The current Moonlight Bodhisattva is a powerful person in the realm of T'ai True Immortal, or the Buddhist Guanyin Bodhisattva. Buddhism's classification of practitioners is different from Taoism. The Taoist Yuan Yang realm corresponds to the Buddhist Arhat realm. Yuan Yang Celestial Immortal, Yuan Yang True Immortal, Yuan Yang Xianxian, and Yuan Yang Golden Immortal, correspond to Buddhist Arhat, Anagami Arhat, Stratagami Arhat, and Sotapanna Arhat. The Taoist T'ai realm corresponds to the Buddhist Bodhisattva realm. T'ai Celestial Immortal, T'ai True Immortal, T'ai Xianxian, and T'ai Golden Immortal correspond to the Buddhist Manjusri Bodhisattva, Guanyin Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, and Ksitagarbha Bodhisattva. These four bodhisattvas are superior to other bodhisattvas and many Buddhas in terms of cultivation and status. Therefore, the four bodhisattvas are deliberately used to represent the four realms to show their prominent status and achievements in Buddhism. He waved his hand and signaled Kong Chan and Fahe to step aside for the time being. Staring at the man in green robe opposite, the power displayed in the thunder just now was no less powerful than his own. When did such a powerful person appear in Nanzan Buzhu? Amitba, poor Nanyu Guang, I wonder who your surname is. Su Junming, a poor Taoist, became the president of Chongshan Academy. Your Excellency is also a sect leader, why are you embarrassing my Buddhist disciples here? It's up to them both. Moonlight Bodhisattva glanced at Kong Chan and Fa Hai beside him, and knew from the slight embarrassment in their expressions that he was not very reasonable. That being the case, she didn't ask any more questions. Su Zhangjiyuan's cultivation is extraordinary, and his thunder skills are even more domineering. How about the two of us having a discussion here? Since the Bodhisattva invites you, don't you dare disobey me again. Please. Please. You just have to wait again. After giving instructions to a few disciples, Su Junming waved his sleeves, and his figure shot straight up into the clouds, and soon he reached a height of 10,000 feet. The same is true for Moonlight Bodhisattva. Both of them knew the existence of the Tai realm, and every move had great power. If it were on the ground, it would cause too much damage. If you are careless and hurt your life, it will be a big karma. On the contrary, it is easier to let go and avoid. One to the left and one to the right, the two of them were thousands of feet apart. After staring for a moment, they almost started to move at the same time. Taiyinyuehua. Thunder divine light. The clear moonlight was 10 times more powerful than before. The surging moonlight, like a river bursting its banks, swept across thousands of miles with the coldness of ecstasy and corpses. The red celestial thunder seemed to be like a flame rising into the sky, and it also carried a domineering tone. The two methods, one hard and one soft, are surprisingly powerful. It was as if two giant dragons were roaring, rushing towards each other, biting madly, holding each other tightly, trying to win the battle. But in the end they died together bit by bit. The two formed seals at the same time, and stronger thunder and moonlight rushed out. At this moment, whether it is Xiandole or Taiyinyuehua, every ounce of power is under control, and absolutely nothing is wasted. This superb, art-like control ability made the surrounding spectators mesmerized. The battle in the Tai true immortal realm was so powerful that it could easily attract spectators. Hey, is that the Buddhist Moonlight Bodhisattva? A bald old man with a bare chest, holding a cattail leaf fan, and a pair of big feet had a surprised look on his face. I'm even more curious about who is the person opposite who controls the thunder? If Lei Gong of the Thunder Department of Heaven had put aside the blessing of the gods, his understanding of the way of thunder might not be as good as this person. The speaker was carrying a big red gourd on his back, wearing a ge robe, and leaning on a wooden cane. He looked like a rough beggar. But the aura between the two of them was not weak. After solidifying for a while, the bald old man shook his head. Brother Li, does he know this person? Haha, I don't know the great immortal even if I have many friends. How can a cripple like me possibly know him? I didn't expect to encounter such a fight when I went out. It's really a worthwhile trip, the bald old man said. The rough man nodded. I tried my best to be late and was scolded by immortal master Zhen Yuan, but I have to watch this battle. Haha, heroes think alike. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 829. Brother Li, Taking's Taoism is amazing. Can you tell who of these two can win? The bald old man asked after looking at it for a while. Of course it's the Moonlight Bodhisattva. Although the two are now evenly matched, the green-robed man's control of thunder has never been as smooth as the Bodhisattva's, which shows that his cultivation is still a step behind. You may not be able to see anything in a short period of time, but as time goes by, as the mana continues to be consumed, this shortcoming will continue to amplify, and it will eventually become the key point in determining victory or defeat. The bald old man nodded and flashed the banana fan in his hand. Brother Li's vision is correct. Let's see if this Taoist friend in green robe has any other means. Otherwise, if this stalemate continues, defeat will be inevitable. But even so, this green-robed Taoist friend is already extraordinary. Not everyone can compete with Moonlight Bodhisattva, one of the 3 Eastern saints of Buddhism. That makes sense. After this battle, we should make 1 or 2 friends. The sloppy man smiled and nodded. As soon as the two of them finished speaking, the situation in the field suddenly changed. Moonlight Bodhisattva changed his fingertips, and the lotus in his palm suddenly transformed into a giant tree that was completely frosty white and covered with indigo leaves. Moonlight Bodhisattva, the seal of the Dharma is certain, and he drinks from his mouth. The Toad Palace won the title. The mysterious sound was loud and clear, and the giant trees bloomed with immeasurable silver light. The majestic brilliance instantly turned into moon blades all over the sky, and the sharp energy tore through the sky and the earth. Even thousands of miles away, there was a pain-like ray of light on the back. Shua. The overwhelming moon blades filled the sky under the fingers of the moonlight bodhisattva's halberd, like a river rolling back, stretching across thousands of miles, leaving almost no room for Su Junming to escape. The awe-inspiring majesty and mighty momentum made everyone change their expressions. Sun Shi, Sun Er, and Su Xian all became nervous instantly. The momentum revealed by the moon blades all over the sky is too strong. Gotta lose. The sloppy man and the bald old man said at the same time. Facing the moon blades all over the sky, Su Junming looked calm and put his hands together, 10 of them clasped tightly. Infinite lightning spurted out from every acupuncture point on his body. The red Xian Dole is like a hot flame, extremely unrestrained. In an instant, it had grown thousands of feet tall, and the crimson thunder condensed into a gigantic drum. The astonishing power spread out, stretching thousands of miles. At the same time, a large black hole suddenly appeared behind Su Junming, and a rich spiritual energy of creation flew out of it. After absorbing the spiritual energy of creation, the red giant drum in everyone's eyes suddenly expanded. The nearly 10,000-foot-high drum exuded an astonishing aura of destruction. How can it be? Moonlight Bodhisattva, the slovenly man, and the bald old man all widened their eyes at the same time, their faces full of disbelief. At the same time, a clear and firm voice resounded across the sky. Thunder Spear. Next moment, the infinite thunder turned into a divine spear, and with an indomitable momentum, it rushed forward crazily. Like a rainbow in the sky, but sharper than a sword, all the moon blades collapsed under the impact of the thunder spear. Moonlight Bodhisattva's expression is solemn, and his hands are like butterflies piercing flowers, changing rapidly. Under the influence of the complicated seal, the laurel tree above his head instantly blocked his body. Boom! The sound of knives and axes striking wood sounded. The thunder spear was deeply embedded in the laurel tree. At this moment, the world seemed to be quiet. Everything came to a standstill. Until the huge laurel tree exploded and shattered. In the silver-white brilliance for a long time, the thunder gradually dissipated. The turbulent energy turned into a strong wind in the sky, blowing the clothes. In mid-air, the two of them were still thousands of feet apart, facing each other from a distance. Bodhisattva, how about stopping at this point? Buddhism is powerful and now is not the time to break up. Moonlight Bodhisattva took a deep look at the other side. Farewell. With a wave of his sleeves, he rolled up Kong Chan and Fahey, and flew into the light. In just a quarter of an hour, they were already hundreds of thousands of miles away. Suddenly, Moonlight Bodhisattva's face turned pale, wow, and he spurted out blood. The sound of thunder bloomed in the pale golden blood, and after dozens of red lightning bolts, the blood evaporated. Bodhisattva, you. He waved his hand to interrupt the two of them, it's just some thunder energy accumulated in the body. It will be fine once it is forced out. Looking at the two people with shocked faces. Tell me, why did you conflict with that Taoist Su? The master and apprentice exchanged looks, with a look of hesitation on their faces. It looks like it's your fault. Bodhisattva is harmonious, but his disciples are helpless. After organizing his words, Kong Chan continued, just 3 years ago, Guanxian Bodhisattva found his disciple and asked his 5 disciples, Fahey, to come forward and fight with a snake named Bai Sohen. The demon is in trouble, and he specifically ordered that after the snake demon gives birth to a child, she can be captured and imprisoned in Lifeng Pagoda. Can you catch someone just by the two of you? Hearing the sarcasm in the Bodhisattva's tone, Kong Chan couldn't help but have a bitter look on his face. Bai Sohen is just a casual cultivator. Although she has heard Taoism from Lishan Mother, she is not considered a disciple. With the cultivation levels of my master and apprentice, it is not difficult to catch her. But I don't know that her husband is actually a disciple of Chongshan Academy. And the status is not low. So this leads to failure. Isn't Guanxian proficient in the art of heavenly secrets? Why didn't you calculate these? This disciple really doesn't know. Okay, you go back. Disciple resigns. Kong Chen and Fa Hai didn't dare to stay any longer and quickly urged Deng Guang to leave. Watching the two people leave, Moonlight Bodhisattva had a hint of ridicule on his face. Guanyin, you really miscalculated this time. Wherever there are people, there are rivers and lakes. Buddhism, as a illustrious sect that stands side by side with Taoism, is naturally divided into different forces due to different doctrines. Buddhist monks such as Guanxian Bodhisattva, Manjushri, Samantabhadra, and Ksatagarbha who achieved Buddhahood through meritorious deeds are naturally different from Sunlight Bodhisattva, Moonlight Bodhisattva, Mahasthamaprapta, etc. who achieved Buddhahood through hard work. Although not hostile, they are not too close either. At the same time, Su Junming also put away his magic power and looked into the distance. Since you two fellow Taoists are meeting at the right time, if you don't mind it, why don't you come over for a while? Haha, Brother Li, I'm invited, let's go. The sloppy man smiled and nodded. The two of them jumped up and quickly traveled tens of thousands of miles and arrived in front of Su Junming. It turns out that the great immortal and the king of medicine were in person, and Su Junming paid their respects. Although he has not been in the immortal world for a long time, he is somewhat familiar with some well-known immortals. Especially the two people, Barefoot Immortal and Taiguai Li, whose facial features are so obvious that they can be recognized almost at a glance. The Barefoot Immortal has a bold and unrestrained temperament and waves the banana fan in his hand. Fellow Daoist Su is so adept at Thunder Dao Kung Fu that he is really admirable. The great immortal has oversold you. At this time, Sun Er, Sun Shi, and other disciples also flew over. After the Barefoot Immortal and Taiguai Li glanced at the disciples, that was all. The only one whose eyes changed when they saw Sun Er. Although Sun Er hid his true identity as a six-eared macaque, the two Taishiensians were able to see through it at a glance. Fellow Daoist Su, the two of us are just passing by. We are truly lucky to meet you. We wish we could chat for 3 days and 3 nights. However, we were invited by the great immortal Zhen Yuan, so we have already been delayed for some time on the road. I don't dare to stay any longer, so I'll take my leave now. When I have some free time in the future, I'll come visit again, Taiguai Li said with a cupped hand. Su Junming's eyes flashed. He is not a fool, and of course he can see the reason why the two people's attitudes changed drastically. Since the two fellow Taoists have important matters, it is inconvenient for me to stay here any longer. Farewell. Farewell. Watching the two of them go away, Su Junming turned around. Let's go back. Let Su Xian and Bai Suhen take Xiaoqing away first. Su Junming patted Sun Er on the back. With the intelligence of the six-eared macaque and the keenness of his six senses, he could certainly detect the strange look in the eyes of the two immortals when they looked at him. Moreover, before meeting the Dragon Emperor, he also went to the Taoist sect and the Buddhist sect to become disciples. But they were all turned away. Just because of the words of Taoist patriarch, the Dharma is not transmitted to the six ears. It doesn't know why there is such a sentence, and it never remembers its own sins or desu. But just because of such a sentence, it failed to learn from him countless times. A trace of warmth behind his back made him turn around subconsciously. A familiar and caring face came into view. Uncle, don't think too much, practice hard. A simple sentence turned into a rolling roar, warming the body and mind. Yes. Let's go, junior brother, let's fight for another 800 rounds. This time I will beat you to pieces. Although his words were hateful, there was an intimacy in his senior brother's tone that he couldn't refuse. In an instant, all the coldness was melted away by the warmth. The corner of his mouth curled up. Fart, even if your cultivation level is a little higher, you are still no match for me. Let's go, let's fight again. I'll just fight, I'm afraid you won't succeed. The two monkeys walked out of the yard arm in arm. Looking at their backs, the smile on Su Junming's face gradually disappeared and his brows wrinkled. The earthly immortal world is just a vast world, and the most powerful one is only the Dalogo true immortal. The Dao ancestor is already a saint, so there shouldn't be a close connection between the two parties. Thinking of this, his frown deepened. Could it be that there has always been some connection between the earthly immortal world and the prehistoric world on a higher level? The more I think about it, the more it seems possible. At the same time, he also thought of the thin red thread in the luck of the six-eared macaque that led to an unknown place. Dharmakaya. These two words suddenly appeared in my mind. As the destiny becomes more and more profound, many questions will have answers that come to them in a flash. However, these answers are extremely accurate. Think about your own seven spirits Dharmakaya again, the more you think about it, the more likely it is. However, he didn't know why the six-eared macaque, who was also a Dharma body and worshipped as a disciple of Chongshan, obviously had no memory of the other world. Perhaps it's because of the lack of timing, or because of the technique itself. But we need to pay more attention to this matter. Chongshan Academy cannot let anyone with ulterior motive sneak into it. Suddenly, a trace of annoyance appeared on his face. If I had known earlier, I should have looked at Taigui Li and Barefoot Immortal. If they were also Dharma bodies, they should have the same red line. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 830. Chapter 811, The Dharma is not transmitted to the 6 ears, the secret of becoming a saint. At the same time, hundreds of thousands of miles away from Hangcheng County, Taigui Li and the Barefoot Immortal were flying towards Inuhezu in the clouds. That Taoist Master Su is so bold, he actually dares to take the six-eared macaque into his section, the Barefoot Immortal said with a smile. I guess I just entered the Tai realm not long ago, and I still don't know the reality of the six-eared macaque. When I saw a disciple with excellent qualifications, I quickly accepted him. I didn't know how troublesome the monkey was. In the chiming world, the chiming sect accepted the six-eared macaque. Before it could recover its memory, it was destroyed by a dozen ancient demons. The chiming Taoist who was in the Dalogo Jinxian realm was also beheaded by King Pen. Hundreds of millions of years of practice turned into running water, it is really sad and lamentable. The Barefoot Immortal shook his head and sighed. If Taoist Su doesn't cut the knot quickly, Chongshan Academy will probably follow the path of the chiming section, Taigui Li said. The Barefoot Immortal nodded in agreement. The two continued to fly forward in silence. After a long time, the Barefoot Immortal suddenly said, "It is said that the Taoist ancestor explained the way to sainthood to 7 saints alone, but was eavesdropped by the six-eared macaque, which prompted the Taoist ancestor to pass down the decree that the law should not be passed on to the 6 ears. All living beings in the ancient world thought that the six-eared macaque knew the secret of becoming a saint, so they hunted him down repeatedly. They never thought that this divine monkey had mysterious powers, so he repeatedly escaped, and later disappeared. Later, he appeared several times and was reincarnated. Not the real one. Even so, every time the reincarnation of the six-eared macaque appears, it will attract countless powerful people to peek, hoping to get the secret of sanctification from it, thus triggering an endless war. In today's world, except for the 3 branches of Taoism, Buddhism, and Nuwa Empress, no sect or force can protect the six-eared macaque. However, Taoist sect, Buddhism and Nuwa Empress hinder the Taoists' rule that the law is not taught to the 6 ears, but they cannot will be included. Therefore, the six-eared macaque is destined to have a difficult road with many misfortunes and no happy ending. After finishing speaking, the Barefoot Immortal remained silent. Why is the great immortal so verbose about this? Taiguai Lichuanyan said. Alas, I just can't bear to have another chaos in the fairy world. It will be so miserable when all the lives are devastated. It's better to speak out and let the six-eared macaque leave on its own. It's still the mercy of the great immortal. It's just a matter of doing your best to obey fate. Sun Er, who was resting after a fight with Sun Shi, turned pale instantly and his body started to tremble slightly. The six-eared macaque is born with the magical power Heavenly Ear, which can hear all over the world, and unless the cultivation level is too high, it will be difficult to detect it. Therefore, ever since I noticed that Taiguai Li and the Barefoot Immortal were looking at me strangely, I had been using my magical powers to eavesdrop on their conversation. Finally, I understood the reason why I had been rejected by others despite my repeated attempts to become a disciple. What's wrong with you? Sun Shi asked, sensing something unusual. It's okay. After taking a deep breath, Sun Er stood up. I'm going to recover my mana, and I'll fight you again when I come back. Waiting for you, hurry up. Sun Er waved his hand, turned and left. After hiding it from Sun Shi, it secretly left Hangzhou. With tears in its eyes, it knelt down and kowtowed 3 times. Master, uncle, my disciples are unfilial, and I cannot bring you any trouble. From today on, I will die in Chongshan. Boom. The loud bell rang in his ears, and Sun Er felt his head shake, and he fainted instantly. Su Junming's figure appeared behind him, took 2 steps forward, and covered his head with his right hand. In just a moment, he understood the whole story. It turns out that this is the beginning and end of the law does not spread to the 6 ears. The secret of becoming a saint is really a big secret. Because of the existence of the bronze mirror, Su Junming has always been very confident in his future, and it has made him proud over the years. There are even some who are not afraid of anything. But at this moment he admitted that he was scared. Let's not talk about Taoist ancestors. From ancient times to the present, countless great powers have been trapped in the Dalogojingxian realm and cannot move forward. And these are the pretenders to the secret of sanctification. He knows very well that people can do any crazy things for the sake of the road, and massacring cities and exterminating religions is nothing more than leisure. If these people were to know that the 6-eared macaque was in Chongshan Academy, including him, they would face a crazy siege from countless veteran Dalogojingxian. Unless he is willing to let the 6-eared macaque reveal the secret of sanctification. Let's not talk about whether the 6-eared macaque knows the secret of becoming a saint. Even if he knows, he would not be able to reveal it. Otherwise, it would not be these Dalogojingxian who would be offended, but the 7 superior saints. There are only so many resources in a world, and one more person means less. If it were Su Junming, he would not be willing to share it with one more person. On one side are groups of ancient Dalogo golden immortals, and on the other side are 7 saints. Caught in a dilemma, this is probably the reason why the 6-eared macaque cannot hide, so he only dares to reincarnate his soul and walk the world with his Dharmakaya. After thinking about this, Su Junming felt heavy in his heart, full of pressure. This is really big trouble. Thinking about Sun Er's move just now that he wanted to evict himself from the house and was unwilling to implicate Chongshan Academy, Su Junming couldn't do anything but abandon it. He waved his hand to erase Sun Er's previous memories. Let you go to Chongshan world first. When I have enough strength to keep you in the future, it won't be too late to show up again. He waved his sleeves and put Sun Er into his sleeves. South China Sea purple bamboo forest. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, sitting cross-legged on the lotus platform, suddenly opened his eyes. Opening his left palm, a milky white jade slip appeared. Soon, lines of writing appeared on it. After reading it, he frowned slightly, thought for a moment and then shook his head. It's really not worth offending a powerful Tai immortal for Bai Sohen, so let's just forget about it. After informing Kong Chan through the jade slip, Guanxian put the matter behind him. It was about to be a critical period for the spread of Buddhism to the east, and she didn't want to cause any further complications. Time is easy to grow old, and the years are fleeting. A period of time passed in the blink of an eye. White clouds were floating in the sky, and in the aura-rich heaven, several immortal officials were in front, and behind them, a handsome young man wearing a dark red official robe rode forward on horseback. It didn't take long before they arrived outside a fairy palace. On the tall and majestic archway next to it, the golden characters of 20 million Demon Lord Immortal Mansion shine brightly. The immortal soldiers guarding the door on both sides saw the person coming and stepped forward quickly. "See Wenkuxing Jun. Is the true king at home? The true lord is cultivating in the immortal mansion." He nodded, dismounted, and went in. The entourage will naturally be arranged by the immortal officials in the immortal mansion of true Lord Dangmo. Arriving at the backyard with ease, Second Master's uncle, Su Xilan, pays his respects. "Come in." A slightly childish voice came from the main hall in the backyard. Su Xilan pushed the door open and walked in. He saw Renwuji, the great uncle of the Second Master, the true Lord of Yin and Yang, who was sitting cross-legged on the altar in the main hall, wearing a yellow robe and looking like a boy. He quickly stepped forward and bowed down. Before he could speak, he was lifted up by a strong force. "You're as rigid as your father. You know I don't like these vulgar etiquette, but you still don't change your ways." Su Xilan was not embarrassed either. His father, Su Xian, taught him the 4 books and 5 classics since he was a child. Etiquette and rules have been engraved in his bones for many years. How could he change them? Moreover, after he became an immortal 20 years ago and restored Wenkuxing Jun's status as a god, he had been to his second uncle's place many times and had long been accustomed to his nagging. "Speaking of which, why are you here with me this time?" Su Xian patted the storage gourd on his waist, and a big brown gourd jumped out. When Renwuji saw it, his eyes instantly lit up, and he stretched out his hand to take the gourd. "Monkey wine. I know you like it, so Master specially asked me to bring it to you." After opening the seal and taking a sip, Renwuji nodded with satisfaction. Although he is not as drunk as Genjun Tai, he still likes what is in this cup. That boy Sun Shi is still filial. On behalf of Master, I would like to thank my uncle for the compliment. Su Xilan passed the human soul divine gate test at the age of 6 and became a disciple of Sun Shi's disciple. It took him 34 years to become an ocean immortal and ascend to the heavens, becoming Wenkuxing Jun. He is now a Yuan Yang true immortal level existence. She glanced at him and said, "Where's your little wife? Why didn't you come with us?" "She is pregnant and did not want to travel far, so she stayed in the house." Speaking of this, Su Xilan couldn't help but look happy. "Really? Congratulations to you, boy." "Thank you, great uncle." As Renwuji waved his hand, a golden circle flew over. Su Xilan subconsciously caught it. "This golden circle of conquering demons is a treasure I used in my early years. I will give it as a gift to my little nephew who I have never met." "Uncle Master, this treasure is too precious." He waved his hand to interrupt him. "Don't go on blabbering. It's just a middle-grade immortal weapon. I have no use for it long ago. I don't have any apprentices, so it's a waste to stay here." Seeing him like this, Su Xilan quickly bowed and thanked him. Before he could stand up straight, boom! The heaven and earth shook, and the whole heaven shook. Su Xilan was shocked. He really couldn't think of anyone who could make the huge heaven tremble. "Master uncle. Don't worry, go back and see your wife, she needs you more now." Seeing his uncle's calm appearance, Su Xilan said no more, nodded quickly, respectfully bid farewell and left. Renwuji sat cross-legged on the cloud bed, activated the bronze mirror, and could clearly see the extremely excited golden-haired monkey that had just burst out of the rock on the Huaguo mountain. The trend is finally turning on. Journey to the west and Buddhism's journey to the east will all begin around this monkey. After a while, footsteps were heard outside the door. Reporting to the true Lord, there is news from the Lingxiao Palace that the Jade Emperor has ascended to the palace, and the true Lord is invited to come and discuss matters. Just say I'm in retreat. Yes. In fact, since he ascended to the heavenly realm and was named the true king of demons of Lianji Dang, he almost never participated in the immortal gatherings at the Lingxiao Palace, except for occasionally descending to the lower realms to succumb to demons. After all, the Jade Emperor is not Haoshan. He is just a mortal who sat on the throne of the heavenly emperor of the immortal realm on earth by virtue of his immeasurable merit. Renwuji, who has a cultivation level in the Tai realm, is fully qualified to listen to the tune but not the announcement. In fact, this is the case for most of the Tai realm great powers in the immortal world. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 831. Chapter 812, Stone Monkey is born, shocking. The news of Sun Wukong's birth shook the 3 worlds. Almost all Tai realm powerful people have sensed it. Su Junming and Tai Zhenjun, who were inside the Hunyuan Divine Gate in Chongshanju, opened their eyes instantly. After 4 bright lights passed by. Here we go. Su Junming said in a deep voice. He, yes. I really look forward to what this fake Gaku will do next. Su Junming slowly stood up. Are you going out of seclusion? Nodded. It's time for me to survive the tribulation. Tai Zhenjun suddenly understood. It's really time for you to overcome the tribulation. The flow of time is 100 times faster. You have been practicing here for 7,000 years. No matter how much spiritual energy the martial arts body needs, this moment should be enough. Su Junming looked calm. What he has improved in 7,000 years is not only his physical body, but also his understanding of the Tao, especially the Tao of time, which has been upgraded to the limit of what his body can bear along with space, soul, seals, creation, etc. You should also come out together. When I advance, the Hunyuan divine sect will need to be refined again. Tai Zhenjun's eyes lit up. When the time comes, won't I also be able to enjoy 100 times the speed of time? Then what are you waiting for? Let's go. After leaving the Hunyuan Divine Gate, Su Junming directly entered the Celestial Elephant Divine Gate. After being promoted to the middle grade Immortal Treasure, the void world in the Celestial Elephant Divine Gate was comparable to a small Dakian world. Not to mention the Tai Immortal Tribulation, even the Great Logo Immortal Tribulation is enough. However, the Tai Immortal Tribulation was different from the Yuanyang Immortal Tribulation that Su Junming had experienced before. It is no longer the 99 tribulations of heaven, but the 3 tribulations of wind, fire, thunder, and the inner demon tribulation. Although there are only 4 types of heavenly tribulation left, their power is hundreds of times more powerful than the Yuanyang heavenly tribulation. There are 3 disasters of wind, fire, and thunder in Tai Celestial Realm and True Immortal Realm. However, the scale of the first thunder tribulation had already surpassed the 99 heavenly tribulations that Su Junming had experienced. The 100-foot-long crimson celestial thunderbolt, like a burning fire cloud, instantly penetrated the heaven and earth, completely enveloping Su Junming. 7,000 years of preparation allowed Su Junming to accumulate enough information to overcome the tribulation. Although the 3 disasters of wind, fire, and thunder are strong, they can't do anything to him. It took 1 day to successfully survive the 3 severe disasters. The aura of creation that fell from the sky, coupled with the mana that had been stored in his body, instantly made his cultivation level leap forward. After absorbing this aura of creation, the rust on the surface of the Danshan bronze mirror was once again eliminated. The clear water like mirror light reflected back on the sea of consciousness, and his understanding increased rapidly, and Su Junming used this rare opportunity to use the path of time. The originally stagnant time talisman rapidly improved and gradually entered the Tai Golden Immortal Realm. At the same time, Tai Zhenjun, who was standing in the distance, suddenly discovered that at some point, a river with no known origin and no end in sight, as if it was emptiness and yet real, gradually appeared next to Su Junming. Although it looks only a dozen feet long and 2 or 3 feet wide, it reveals the vicissitudes of time, the rise and fall of eras, and the rise and fall of the world. It is so vast that it is difficult for humans to peer into it. This is the power of time. Tai Zhenjun exclaimed. I don't know how much time passed, but the long river of time surrounding Su Junming slowly disappeared, and he gradually opened his eyes. Feeling my own progress, I am happy but also a little regretful. On the gourd vine where the seven souls Dharmakaya appears, the green gourd representing the non-poison soul has grown a lot, but it still shows no sign of maturity. My dear, has your timekeeping skills improved? Su Junming nodded, with a happy smile on his face. This time I saved at least 500 years of enlightenment. It is extremely difficult to comprehend the Tao of time. Even with the assistance of the bronze mirror, it will take 500 years to advance from Tai Xianxian to the Golden Immortal Realm. Can the Hunyuan divine sect be upgraded to the ultimate immortal treasure? Of course. But it will take a lot of time. The Hunyuan divine sect is Su Junming's natal immortal treasure. The deeper his understanding of the way of time is, the higher the Hunyuan divine sect can reach. This is also the reason why the natal magic weapon is different from ordinary magic weapons and is called the weapon that carries the Tao. But Hunyuan Zhenmen is a treasure that Su Junming made after pinching the innate spiritual energy transformed by Huang Zhongli and refining it into crystals. If you want to advance further, you will need a huge amount of innate spiritual energy. Even if Huang Zhongli transformed enough spiritual energy, it would still take time to upgrade the Hunyuan divine sect from a high-grade fairy treasure to a top-grade fairy treasure. How much time is required? Su Junming thought about it for a while. About 2 dozen. I can afford to wait for 2 months. It's just right. You can practice first, and I'll go to Huaguo Mountain to see the excitement. With one step, the person disappeared instantly. This guy. Shaking his head, he turned around and walked towards the small world of Tianwai Shenshan Mountain. Huaguotian, Shuoliandong. The 18 arhats were invisible in the air, looking at the drinking monkey and the stone monkey sleeping soundly on the throne in the middle. They exchanged glances with each other, full of helplessness. What number is this? The arhat who subdued the dragon looked at the old white-haired monkey that had been dead for a long time on a boulder not far away and sighed heavily. The 7th one. Isn't he afraid of death? Why doesn't he have the slightest idea of cultivating Taoism? Fuhu Arhat was a strong man with a bad temper. Looking at the sleeping stone monkey, he had the urge to drag it over and give it a good beating. Fortunately, it was just impulse. Is there something wrong? Sitting Deer Arhat frowned. Impossible. 18 of us were all present when the Buddha gave his instructions. Even if one of us heard it wrong, it's impossible for all 18 of us to hear it wrong. Long-browed Arhat shook his head. Then what's going on? The stone monkey holding the alms bowl has been sleeping soundly. Looking at it, everyone in the 18 Arhats has a headache. When the Monkey King was selected for the water curtain cave, the monkeys fought bravely, but the old stone monkey god, who was carrying everyone's expectations, was there, looking uninterested. Even if they control a few monkeys to provoke them with words, it will have no effect at all. Later, I had no choice but to directly control a few wild monkeys to expose the existence of Shualian Cave, and led a group of monkeys to worship the stone monkey as king. Only then was the Monkey King finally invited into the water curtain cave. The next step is to let him see life and death, initiate the idea of cultivating Taoism, and then go to sea to become a disciple. The Buddha's clone, Patriarch Bodhi, had been waiting for hundreds of years in Xianyu Sangzing cave, so he was sent to visit. As a result, the 18 arhats brought 7 dying old monkeys in succession, but they did not make the Monkey King even think about practicing cultivation. If it weren't for the fact that this stone monkey was the key to the spread of Buddhism to the east, and that the Buddha had warned him to keep an eye on it, they would have captured it and beaten it up long ago. Would you like to try again? The gatekeeper Arhat suggested. The Arhats exchanged glances with each other, but other than that, they had nothing else to pay attention to. That's all. The dragon subduing Arhat sighed. Thanks to the book friends for coming to play Decade 500 starting coins. So 9,100 starting coin reward. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 832. Your Majesty, this is the fruit that just arrived from Nanshan Mountain. A sturdy green-haired monkey walked over with a flattering smile on his face. Lying lazily on the throne, the stone monkey opened one eye and glanced at the fruit plate in the green monkey's hand. There are 6 or 7 kinds of fruits including bananas, apples, and oranges in it, which can be described as abundant. He picked up an apple, took a bite, and spat it out. Leave it there. Yes, yes. After Green Monkey put down the fruit plate, he respectfully withdrew. Look at its leaving figure, and then look at the gorgeous caves around it. Ah! She yawned beautifully, stretched, and then lay down again, resting her arms behind her head and sighing in her heart. This is life. The power is in hand, and thousands of monkey soldiers are respectful. He enjoys being served by 17 or 8 beautiful female monkeys every day, and he can also win in battles. You can eat all kinds of fruits as you like, whenever you want, as much as you want, and whatever you want. Such a monkey life is simply countless times stronger than the previous life. Although it didn't know why it was reincarnated, it still had the memory of its previous life, but it decided to keep this secret and never let anyone or monkeys know about it. Just when the stone monkey was immersed in his own thoughts, an old monkey with yellow hair walked in. You can tell it's very old. The once smooth and shiny yellow hair has now become dull and grayish-white, like withered grass. There are layers of fleshy folds on the face, covered with traces of time. The stone monkey, who had experienced this state in his previous life, knew that it was very old and might fall down at some point and never get up again. Your Majesty, I. Before he could finish what he said, he looked dull and fell to the ground. With a few fruits in his hand, Gilialu rolled far away. A sturdy black monkey walked over next to him, took a breath, and stood up straight. Your Majesty, it is already dead. Dead. After Stone Monkey finished speaking with a bit of lamentation, he waved his hand. Take it out and find a good place to bury it. Several strong monkeys came over, picked up the old monkey and walked out. After the scene just now, Shihao suddenly felt that the apple in his mouth no longer tasted good. Throw it out casually. Your Majesty, are you worried about the death of that old monkey? Suddenly, an old monkey with yellow hair stood aside and spoke. Glanced at it. Go out, I want to be quiet. The old monkey twitched the corner of his mouth, and a flash of anger flashed in his eyes, but he took a deep breath and calmed down. Does your Majesty know about cultivation? If you can cultivate and become an immortal, you can live forever and live as long as heaven and earth. Come on, monkey, pull down this old madman who has harassed me several times, and don't let him enter my water curtain cave again. 2 monkeys came up, grabbed the old monkey's arm and dragged him out. But the old monkey's body was unexpectedly heavy, and no matter how hard they tried, it was difficult to drag him. Your Majesty has extraordinary qualifications. He definitely has the qualifications to become an immortal. When the time comes, he will face the North Sea and watch the night sky. He can travel all over the world in one day. He can be the guest of the Jade Emperor and the guest of the King of Hell. Isn't it better than that? Have you been feeling confused all day again? The stone monkey stood up from the chair, walked up to the old monkey, and stared at the old monkey with his round eyes. With his amber pupils, the Arhat, who had turned into an old monkey, was a little at a loss. Just when he was about to persuade him again, Stone Monkey suddenly reached out and grabbed the old monkey by the back of his neck. Just drag it outside. The so-called Tai Chi level innate gods, although they lack a drop of their natal essence and blood, they still have boundless power in their fleshy shells. Although the alms-raising Arhat could resist, if his cultivation was exposed, he was afraid of causing unpredictable changes, so he gritted his teeth, suppressed the mana in his danshan, and let the stone monkey grab him and pull him out. He carried the old monkey, who was still chattering endlessly, describing the benefits of spiritual practice, to the entrance of Shuoliandong, and gave him a kick on his butt. A beautiful parabola was drawn, and with a pop sound, a few pools of water splashed up. He clapped his hands. "Damn old guy, how dare you bewitch me like this?" Stone Monkey lived for more than 100 years in his last life, and of course he knew how to practice. If he had the chance, he would also like to become an immortal and a saint. But this old monkey actually tricked him into going out on a boat to study under his master? Damn it, the boundless sea, how can it survive? I'm afraid that after leaving the island for only 3 days, I would feed the tortoise in the sea. How could it seek death like this when it had just been reborn and had not had time to fully enjoy its monkey life? Watching the stone monkey Shishiren return to his seat, he found a few female monkeys to pinch his legs and press his feet, looking very happy. The 18 Arhats, hidden in mid-air, were angry and helpless. "What should I do?" asked the gatekeeper Arhat. "Don't look at me, there's nothing I can do." Dragon subduing Arhat shook his head. "This monkey is determined not to go to sea unless we can bring it directly to Dongsheng Divine Continent," Fuhuluhan said. All the Arhats shook their heads, and the Buddha gave many instructions, telling them not to interfere with the stone monkey's behavior. Sending it into the water curtain cave was an overstep of authority. If it were brought to the Dongsheng Divine Continent, who knows whether the stone monkey will become a disciple or find another mountain to crawl into and become the Monkey King. If it doesn't work, just inform the Buddha about this. We have already tried our best, and if we waste any more time, it will be just a waste of time, the Bobo Arhat said angrily. He never wanted to be dragged into the water again. Moreover, the stone monkey also likes to kick the butt. After all, he is also one of the 18 Arhats of Buddhism, a Yuan-Yang golden immortal level existence. It would be too embarrassing to tell anyone. All the Arhats exchanged glances and nodded. The subduing dragon Arhat is the head of all the Arhats, so he delivers the message on his behalf. First, he left the water curtain cave and returned to the cave where he usually stayed. The subduing dragon Arhat took out a piece of golden incense from his dharma bag and lit it with Buddhist fire. Green smoke curled up into the sky. About a quarter of an hour later, the green smoke suddenly started to sway, and under a mysterious and powerful force, it gradually turned into a Buddha's face. Feeling the vast aura, the 18 Arhats saluted in unison. "Disciples, meet the Buddha. What do you want from me?" The subduing dragon Arhat took a step forward. "Back to the Buddha, my disciples are here to guard the stone monkey in accordance with the order, and guide it across the ocean to become a disciple in Hezhu, Xinyu. However, this monkey's earthly heart is too heavy, and it is afraid of hardship and has never wanted to go to sea. Disciples and others think I tried my best to make it go eastward. I hereby apologize to the Buddha." The Buddha's face formed by the blue smoke frowned slightly. "Please tell me everything that happened after the stone monkey was born." "Disciple, obey." The dragon subduing Arhat then recounted what had happened before and the methods he and others had used. "Really? Absolutely true." The Buddha's face showed a look of thinking, and the cave became quiet. After a while, You guys are waiting here, I have my own arrangements. Respect the law.